Locked On NBA. The biggest stories, the local experts in today's show. I'm talking with Rylan Stiles of Locked On Thunder about Oklahoma City's approach to the NBA draft, and we'll see what happens there. Let's get into it.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi guys, and welcome to Locked On NBA. My name is Josh Lloyd. I'm the host of the Monday edition. I'm also the host of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast, and I'm the lead analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. If you're watching this, welcome to the Locked On NBA YouTube channel. We got all of our full shows are going to be up here on YouTube. And in this video, we're going to be talking with Rylan Stiles of Locked On Thunder. Many people say that the NBA draft sort of starts at pick 6 because that's when stuff can start to get wild, and the Thunder have pick 6. So let's talk with Rylan about what could happen at that spot. And a reminder, we have a live NBA draft show. NBA draft GOAT Chad Ford, Locked On NBA draft host Rafael Barlow, and Locked On NBA host John Corrales will be live this year covering the NBA draft. It's Locked On NBA Draft 2021, brought to you by Built Bar. Get local expert analysis on each pick. Follow Locked On NBA on YouTube today. That's this channel. So hit subscribe down below, and you won't miss this episode. Hit the bell as well, notification bell. That's really going to get you somewhere. Watch our live coverage, July 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern for the NBA draft, right here on Locked On NBA. Now, let's bring in the host of the Locked On Thunder podcast. Rylan Stiles is here. Rylan, welcome to Locked On NBA.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so the Oklahoma City Thunder, we know that they were they're pretty aggressively tanking towards the end of the season, hoping to get a high pick. Unfortunately, lottery luck didn't go their way, and they now have pick number 6. They also have pick number 16 and pick number 18 in the first round. And there's a lot of talk, Rylan, about the Thunder being a team that's looking to move up into that top 4 or top 3. What's the sense that you get about the aggression that Sam Presti is going at this in terms of trying to move up from pick 6?
Well, Sam Presti is going to be extremely aggressive to try to move up. The problem is he can't do it alone. He's got to have somebody to play ball with him, and it's hard to find the team that is going to be willing to play ball with the Thunder, even though Sam Presti will be very, very aggressive. He wants it there, and whenever he wants something, he usually gets it. The problem is, though, at 6, the lottery really screwed the Thunder in a lot of ways, because not only do they not get the top pick, but even with their future assets, how valuable can they be if you cannot deliver somebody a top player that they want in return with the package? So it'll be very tough, but the Thunder are trying very hard.
So what's the most likely scenario at the moment? Obviously, they'd be looking to include 16 and 18. They've got a bevy of future picks. Are they targeting pick 3? We hear the Cavs are in a lot of discussions to move that selection. Are they targeting the Magic at 5? Are they targeting the Raptors at 4? Like, how high up do they want to move?
Well, there's been reports about trying with Houston at 2. I don't see that. Trying with Detroit at 1. I don't see that either. It seems like the Cavs probably want to keep their pick or move up. So at that point, for me, the most realistic thing is you take James Bouknight at 6, and then you try to move up from 16 and 18. There are reports that the Thunder do not feel comfortable taking 3 guaranteed rookies into next year. I don't know how legitimate that could be, because if your goal is to lose games next year, the best way to do that is with young players who are very inexperienced and cannot really close out games. So I'm not sure how they really feel about all 3 rookies, but to me, the most realistic option is you take Bouknight at 6, and then you move up back into the top 10 or top 12 while taking on a bad contract in the latter half of the draft with 16 and 18. And then you walk away at 2 guaranteed rookies, and then whatever you end up with in the second round, when you have 3 picks right now going into it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't really see why they wouldn't take in 3 guaranteed rookies. Like, they're not trying to win games next year. That gives them development. You don't have to guarantee all your rookies 30 minutes a game. Like, these guys can play in the G League if necessary. They can be the 10th, the 11th man. These later picks, I don't really see why you'd be so hesitant to bring those guys in. But you do bring me to an interesting point. Yeah, a lot of talk about this draft. People saying that it's a 5-man draft, and that 5th man seems to have changed a little bit. And a lot of people talking that the Thunder really get things cracking for us at pick number 6, because that's where stuff can go off the board. Now, we assume that we have Cunningham, Green, Mobley, Suggs as the top 4. It appears that Scotty Barnes is going to be pick 5. And then the Thunder have that wild selection. Now, you've mentioned this guy's name twice already, James Bouknight. So you think that's the direction they're going? Because there is Jonathan Kuminga, there is Moses Moody, there is a bevy of players who could be available there at number 6. So, what's the thought here on Bouknight that you've mentioned a couple of times? Is that something that the Thunder have not leaked out, but you're hearing that as an option? Like, is there a lot of indecision about which direction they're going?
I'll put it to you this way. If Scotty Barnes is not there at 6, I'd be stunned if the Thunder did not take James Bouknight. They liked him last year before he pulled his name out of the draft. They like him again this year, obviously. And I think that he's a more realistic developmental plan than Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga has a higher ceiling, but the plan to get him to that ceiling might be a bit tougher than Bouknight. And Bouknight checks a ton of boxes, almost all of them, when you're looking for somebody to go with Shea and to co-star with Shea long term. They like him. It's been reported heavily by Kevin O'Connor, by every draft expert, that the Thunder like him. Again, liked him last year as well. Without Scotty Barnes on the board, I'd be very stunned if it was not the pick at James Bouknight. He's a very good player. I think that's the right decision to make for the Thunder and Sam Presti. As much as I like Kuminga, I think that Bouknight has a better path to becoming that co-star for Shea, and I'd take him comfortably at 6.
Okay, there's no way that I would take him at 6, but that's interesting that you're hearing that. Like, again, this draft is quite interesting because I reckon after probably the top 4, there's like 15 guys who are very, very similar in my opinion. And some of that is eye of the beholder. That's fit, that's workouts, that's all that sort of stuff. In terms of working that out, is there any thought or any discussion of the Thunder maybe going, okay, well, we want Bouknight, but maybe if we trade down, he's not going to go at 7 or 8 or 9. Is there any thought of more? We know Sam Presti loves accumulating assets and accumulating draft picks. Has there been any talk of moving down and still being able to get Bouknight?
Yeah, Sam's going to evaluate every option as he always does. If I think that a trade like that would be if it's like Trae Young and Luka Doncic, where I'm guaranteed to get James Bouknight, you're guaranteed to get your player, and in the process, the Thunder pick up another player or another asset. I think that's the kind of the only way that they trade down. They wouldn't just trade down blindly and hope that Bouknight lands there. They do it with the knowledge that Bouknight's going to be there. Because whenever Presti targets this guy, he gets this guy. He traded up last year for Pokusevski, a player that most people would not have traded up for. And you can see if you believe the Maverick smoke screen that they threw out there to try to get an advantage from it, but they did trade up for Pokusevski because Sam loved Pokusevski, and that was his guy, for better or worse. And so with Bouknight, I think that he has to have a guarantee he's going to get that guy to trade down. But it is on the table. Just having that guarantee to get him, that will be a big deal.
In terms of the other picks, because they've got a bunch of second-round picks as well, is there any talk? Because, they are a team that is consistently active. We've already seen the Al Horford Kemba Walker deal. Is there anything that's being talked about for other deals? Is Kemba someone that is likely to stay with the Thunder through this season? Is there any been talk of packaging him for more draft picks? Like, what is the Thunder doing? Because they are one of the teams that is most likely to be one of the more active teams through this NBA draft process. So is there any talk about moving Kemba further on, or what else they're doing with picks?
Much like trading up in this draft, they're trying to trade Kemba Walker as soon as possible. But it takes a team wanting Kemba Walker. They're not just going to trade him and a first-round pick like the Celtics did to get off of his contract. They're comfortable taking him in the next year. They have all the cap space in the world. They can take on a couple more bad contracts and keep Kemba Walker. The money is no factor. They'd rather wait until the deadline or wait until the offseason to try to rehabilitate him some. Now, if they get a good offer, they're trying to move him as soon as possible. I don't see that being an option right now. I don't see a team investing in Kemba Walker, anything, without the Thunder giving something up. And they're just not in the process of doing that right now. They're not in the mindset of doing that right now. So yes, Kemba's available. They're trying, but the partner is very hard to find. You could see the Thunder doing anything in this draft, moving down from 6 if they can guarantee themselves the guy that they want, and especially moving up from 16 and 18. What's the value on those packages? We even saw a report where the Hawks might not want to pay Cam Reddish. So can you get a guy like Cam Reddish for pick 16 or 18 plus something? There's going to be a bevy of options, including the Thunder, with all their cap space and all of their assets for the future in the terms of draft picks, getting involved like the Cavs did in a massive trade that goes down. If there's some sort of Bradley Beal trade for some reason, if that happens, can the Thunder swoop in and pick up a guy like Jared Allen and get a flyer player for a heavily protected first-round pick to help facilitate a trade and allow a trade to go through? The Thunder have the assets in terms of salary and draft picks to allow that to happen. So they're going to be involved in every rumor, I think, from now to the end of the offseason.
Yeah, that's why they are one of the most intriguing teams over the next week, especially heading into the NBA draft. Rylan, you're going to have all of the Thunder news covered for us over on Locked On Thunder. So thank you for coming on Locked On NBA with me, and people can check you out over on Locked On Thunder.
Thanks for having me.